Many photographers and videographers think that using just a square 12-inch by 12-inch LED panel, either with a little piece of diffusion in front of it or with nothing at all, is okay for lighting portraits. And you know what? Okay is the right term. We can get a good angle, we can get decent coverage, we can get good exposure, but is the quality really where we want it to be for fine portraiture? I don't think so. See if you agree. I've got my basic subject here. You know, I use these little dummies that you get at the beauty supply stores. Well, they're inexpensive. They're about 20 bucks a piece. They come in a wide variety of different skin tones. I keep 5 or 6 of them rolling around here. Little rubber heads just hanging out on the fence. Scares the daylights out of the grandkids when they come over, which is really fun too. So I want to show you what it looks like when you just used an LED that's 3 foot away from the subject. Take a look. It's not bad, right? But you will notice the sharp shadow lines underneath the subject's hat and that little crossover area after the subject's nose. You know, it's okay, but it's not really the quality we want. Now, when we put a big diffusion panel in there, watch the difference. There you go. You'll notice that the specular highlights on the subject's face shape that's closest to the light, there's a big difference there. Look, there is no diffuser. There's with the diffuser. So for one person, this is the way to go. How do we put all the pieces in place, and what do you look for when you set up? Well, let me share that with you. Once you get the hang of how all this system goes together, you won't need to carry around a tape measure. You're just going to go by feel and placement. You're going to know exactly where all this sets up as you go. But while you're getting started, it's good to really build great solid skills. So get yourself a small tape measure. This is a regular size one. There are nice little small ones that you can clip on your pocket or throw into a camera bag. And you want to start off with the comfortable spot for your subject. Now, on the Talking Church directory, we started off with a table, a solid table for people to sit on, and then we brought in different size stools to place people at various heights behind that table. Well, when we're just setting up to do a basic one-person shot in this exercise, then let's start off with, where is that person going to be most comfortable? Are they going to want to stand? We can set everything up high if we're going to have them stand. Are they going to be sitting on the floor? Probably not. Could happen though. Typically, we're going to use a stool, and I've just got a variety of different stools. This is just one I got at a yard sale, a garage sale maybe. And when we have a little person, say I use my grandkids a lot, right, because I got them around, I'm going to set them up on one of these stools, and their head is going to be around 48 inches off the floor. So that's 4 feet. So why not just start there? This light stand is set up to put the nose of this little model here at 48 inches. Next, where are we going to go with the camera? Now, it does depend on your camera. We suggest using the Micro Four Thirds mirrorless cameras, which means that's a small sensor. So you can see the distance here, and this is a real setup here. I'm shooting this under real lighting position setups so that you can see. This is the 42.5 millimeter lens I typically use for single person portraits when I'm going to shoot hybrid. You can choose a different lens if you want to, or use a zoom, doesn't matter. But distance-wise, that's going to be far enough away to give me that head size I'm looking for. But if I were to measure it for you, just so you know, it's at 5 feet. So pretty easy, right? Next, we need to figure out where our lighting is going to be. Now here's where this gets a little bit kind of subjective, and if you want to change the lighting position, you certainly can. Let's start off with our light panel mounted on 2 light stands, and we're going to place that at an angle so that it runs just close to the camera, all the way back to probably 2 feet off the background. Then I want to be careful about how far away I put that LED light back here. That's going to need to be right in the middle of the diffuser, a little higher than the subject's eye line is, and it's going to be 12 inches away from the diffusion panel. Now, what about subject placement in reference to our light panel? Well, here's just a handy little guideline. That is, keep your subject at least 2/3 back on your light panel. Let me show you what I mean. If you look at this shot here, you'll see where the head is 2/3 the way towards the back of that light panel. Well, the reason why is this is going to act as your fill light, and even though later on we're going to show you how we're going to add a fill light into this shot, if we didn't want to, or we couldn't, or we needed to stretch this main light as far wide as we could get it to go, we want to use the length of this diffusion panel to our advantage. Now later, when we have a group of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people here, we want to have nice light quality sweeping left to right, but we also want to have proper exposure going across our set too, right? Okay, to do that, we're going to use 2 LED light sources behind the diffuser. We're going to carefully place those so we get that light to drift over here as well as over here with the same quality and the same exposure. But for now, just try to keep 2/3 of that space in front of your subject on the light panel and 1/3 behind, and you'll get along just fine. So just to recap, we'll start off with the height of our subject being the first thing we nail down. Next, we're going to set our diffusion panel so the height of it is middle-wise, same as the middle of our subject. So I just go by the subject's nose, and the center of our diffusion panel are both at the same height. Next, we're going to leave this diffusion panel vertical. No need to tilt it one way or another. Later we'll get into that. But you'll see where the hot spot is for my light, right? It's a little bit above what I call my subject's eye line. That's that invisible line that goes from the subject's eyes into the lens of the camera, which will be back there. I like to put my main light up a little bit, just like this, so that the bottom of the main light is still on the chin, but the center of the main light is coming down at about a 10 to 15 degree angle. Nothing set in stone, that's just how I like things. Now you will notice that my main light, my LED, is set behind my diffuser, but it's literally right in the middle when it goes left and right. And finally, my subject is placed 2/3 back on my main light. That's going to give me all the wrap that I want. That's also going to start developing my eye so that the light that I see on this subject is also going to be carried on to more subjects later when we have 2 and 3 and 4 people in the shot. The lighting will look terrific. So this light panel, we've settled in on the Chimera brand. Of course, others are going to be available to you, but they're all going to set up basically the same way. Let me show you some tips on how you can set up your Chimera panel or any other brand of panel quickly and really nicely. Let's take a quick look at what's inside the Chimera panel frame kit that we're going to be working with today. Of course, the primary component is going to be the big diffuser here, and this is a good high quality diffuser with 4 elastic corners on it that's going to fit tightly on that frame, but it's pretty easy to get on and off. We've got 2 little bags. Of course, we've got the big stand bag, which is a little oversized, and people wonder why they ship such a big bag when they've only got a small panel kit that goes inside there. Well, there's other components that are going to go in that don't come with it. Of course, that are your light stands. I like those medium Manfrotto stacker stands that click together, so I can take 2 of those, clip them together, throw them inside this bag, then put in the panel frame itself, which is also in a real nice little sock here, and the grip heads that go in that connect the panel frame to the light stands themselves. So how about I show you how I put it together. Now I've been working with these type of tools for a long time. This is very unusual for photographers that are learning hybrid photography. You're thinking, man, I'm used to softboxes and umbrellas and all kinds of light modifiers. This is a very different way to go. So I'm going to put this together a little differently than, say, a motion picture grip person would do, or even a videographer would do, and I'll share with you why I've changed up a couple of those little things as we go, okay? First thing to do is get your 2 light stands set up. Now these can work on lightweight stands or midweight stands or even heavy stands, even C stands. That's kind of what they're made for. But if you're trying to stay portable and on the go, these medium-sized stands here seem to work out really well. Also, if you need a little more stability, you can always put a sandbag or 2 on your stands. For typical studio work, I don't, because I'm going to move that panel around with just one person. I'll show you that when we get it all finished. That's one of the reasons I set this up the way I do. So first thing is we're going to get 2 stands put up. I'm going to have the controls to snug and release the sections of the stand pointing towards the back. So the only thing that you're going to see once this is all set up, of course, is the surface of the panel and then the 2 grip clamp heads here too. And if you're not familiar with these, I know these look kind of like weapons, but they're incredibly powerful little tools called grip heads. And A lot of people have a different name for them, but there's a wide variety of manufacturers that make them. The two that came in the Chimera kit that I just got are from Matthews, and Matthews is one of the absolute premier brands in photography, kind of like Chimera, so they kind of fit together, right? Well, next up, we're going to take the grip head and we're going to position it so that it's hanging on the outside here, and we're going to clamp it down. Next, we're going to set up our panel frame and put the diffusion screen on. The frame's pretty simple to put together, really. Of course, this one's aluminum, not plastic, and it's got elastic cord on the inside that keeps everything together, so even when you pull the joint apart and you fold it to put it back in the case, there's no way you can put this together the wrong way. One of the cool parts about this is, of course, I love the size and shape, and it can be used vertically like this on full-length projects when we get into dance e-products, but it'll also work perfectly horizontally like this. So there is no front or back to it. You can put it on these clamps any way you like to, but here's how I like to do it. Remember, the height of our stands here are also going to be the same height as our subject. So earlier in this video, we determined that 42 inches, I believe, was the height of our subject. So I'm going to set these stands at 42 inches, and then I'm going to put the bracket here, these frames, right in the middle of that 42-inch mark. Now, if you did want this panel to rotate top to bottom, put a little angle on it for some increased fall off top to bottom, you could position the grip head so that the control knob sticks out to the one side, which will allow you to loosen this and then tilt it back and forth. But I don't do that. I want to make sure that this is nice and vertical. So what I do is I make sure that everything is all set so that when I have it finished, I've got the loosening knob facing forward. That's the direction my subject's going to be. I'm going to put the panel here, of course, and I'm going to have my LEDs on the back. So once you get your frame up, this would be a good time to put some shot bags on your stands if you needed to have a little extra stability. I'm not going to right now because I'm going to get this mounted on there and then I want to reposition it. So you simply just unroll or unfold your diffusion material here. And remember, this is the half level diffusion material. And try to keep it off the floor. Just put the little elastic pieces up on the top first. There you go, and then on the bottom. And you notice how I tuck the diffuser here right on the top of this little grip. And we're good to go. Well, and here's one of the reasons I set it up this way, is without any sandbags on it and using these nice tight little stands, I'm able to just grab the center section right here and I can move this around any way I want to. Pretty cool, right? Also, this is sturdy enough that if you just need to swing it back and forth, you could do that as well. It's a good way to go.